Hello and welcome to DarkHorseFM, and in this video I'm going to show you a simple trick I use to beat the 442 on Football Manager. Now with the 442 I'm talking about here is a flat 442, and you're going to find this trick really useful in case you're playing against a very top team, one of the top teams. It's better I just show you. So currently I'm in the year 2039. This is one of my oldest saves in Football Manager. I've actually talked about this save before. Currently we're managing Arsenal, but they're not one of the best teams in England anymore. If you look at the league table right now, we're currently sitting in 7th place, but that is somewhat okay. And if you look at the league season preview, Arsenal are predicted to finish in 9th place, so they're very much a mid-table team. Now, I came up against another team in Aston Villa. They're slightly better than us in this league, and for some reason, if you look at the league table right now, Aston Villa are sitting in 2nd place behind Manchester City. And one of the matches that they actually lost was against us. We actually beat them 3-1. And the reason why I'm going to show you this particular match is because in that game where we played against Aston Villa, it's more of a recent game really, when I actually turned my season around. After losing to Man United, I had to figure out how to fix this, but against Aston Villa, we actually went on to beat them 3-1, and the reason why we did that was because I had a subtle tweak that I added to my particular tactic that actually helped us beat the 442. Now, Aston Villa are currently under the management of a particular guy. What's his name? Brian Sature for some reason. And Sature uses a 4-4-2 system, and he's very, very rigid. Most of the players that they have are very good. They can actually break teams down. Where I saw that I had a problem playing against the 4-4-2 was in the game against Everton. Earlier on in the season, if you go all the way up, we actually lost Everton. Where's that game? Against Everton, we lost 5-3 to Everton. And in that game, Everton actually played a 4-4-2 system. So that's where I noticed that we had a problem. Even though we also started in the 4-4-2, it wasn't very useful. Everton completely destroyed us in that game, and that's mean that we're going to have a problem. So against Aston Villa, I made a subtle tweak to my system. You can see here that we played a 4-3-3 system, and Aston Villa started in their normal 4-4-2 system. Let me just move myself slightly above here so you can see what I mean. So yeah, Aston Villa started in a 4-4-2 system. Now, they're one of the best teams in the league because last season I think they finished in 3rd or so, and they're currently in 2nd place right now. But if you look at the game right now, we completely dominated the game, having 2.69 xg, and Aston Villa only managed 0.88. There's a reason why this game was really difficult for them, and that's what I noticed about the 4-4-2. Now, the 4-4-2 has a weakness in the sense that you have only 2 players in central midfield. Defensively, this could be very good because they have 2 backs of 4, which is the back 4, and the middle 4, which has the wide midfielders in a deeper position. It makes them a lot more defensive. But the problem with that is having only 2 players in the center of the field means that you can easily outnumber the 4-4-2. I know that they have 2 strikers, and that could be a problem for a 4-3-3 that I went on to use because my 4-3-3 has a back 4 that has only 2 defenders. But the subtle trick that we're going to apply to this particular 4-3-3 system to make the 4-4-2 completely useless against it was actually isolate the 2 strikers and also add numerical superiority in the middle of the field, so that the 3 players or the 2 players that are in the 4-4-2, the 2 central midfielders, will be outnumbered by the 4-3-3 3 midfielders that are inside the 4-3-3 central midfield. Now, to beat the 4-4-2 on Football Manager, what you want to do is to go into your tactics screen. In case you're using a 4-3-3 system like this, what you want to do is to first of all go into your out of possession instructions. You can see what I have here. I have a high press and a much higher defensive line. The reason why I have this together is because I want to actually compress the pitch and have a lot of numbers in the middle of the field. That way the 4-4-2 can actually be easily outnumbered in the middle of the field by the 3 central midfielders that I have in a 4-3-3. Now you can choose to go with a high press. You can also choose to go with just the standard defensive line or a high defensive line and a mid block. This also works really well, but I settled for the high press and a much higher defensive line. The only other thing I went on to this system, which I think is the most important trick you can actually go on to do here, is to switch from a fairly wide or balanced width to a very narrow width. The reason why we're using a narrow width is to further compress the field into the middle of the area. Now, the 4-4-2 has a weakness in the middle of the field in the sense that the players that are actually in the center, let's just go to Aston Villa real quick. You'll see here in the 4-4-2 that they have only 2 players in the middle. Now, if you're using a very wide attacking width, your players may be spread apart and they may not be so close to actually outnumber this, but you may only end up with only 1 central midfielder. And in the case where I have a Metala in my tactic, he's also going to go really wide if we're playing very wide. So that didn't really help us in other games, especially against Everton. But against Aston Villa with a 4-4-2 like this, you want to compress the pitch to make sure everybody's very narrow. That way, the 2 players that are in here are going to be outnumbered by the 3 players that are in the 4-3-3 system. Now, you notice in my tactic, I have a Metala and 2 wingers, so it doesn't really help us to play extremely wide. We may just end up with nobody in the middle, and then the 4-4-2 might go ahead and outnumber us. So having your players compress the pitch and become very close together actually gives you a numerical superiority in the middle against the 4-4-2. It worked for us against Aston Villa, and I've been applying the same tactical principles to actually help us win games here on Football Manager. Now, my tactic by default is very wide. That's what I actually prefer to use, but there are those odd games where you need to actually tweak something in order to survive in a particular match. Now, I know I've lost to Leicester City before. If you look at my schedule right now, we've lost to Leicester City 2-1. They actually use the 4-4-2 as well. But in order for us to get this victory, after I learned what I learned about the 4-4-2, I came against Leicester City again in the Carabao Cup away from home, and we ended up beating them by 3-1. In this game, we also completely dominated the game, having an XG of 2.49. Leicester were only able to get 0.77 out of the game, and then you can see that they have their 4-4-2 system in place. The thing I like about Football Manager is that the AI doesn't really change that much. The way they're going to play is the way they're going to play. So if you actually figure out how to defeat most of these tactics individually and combine with what you know about what works well on Football Manager, you can actually go ahead and get more wins in this game. So you need to try and not just go into every game the same way. Try to look at the team that you're playing against and see how you can get one over on them. Try to use real football principles like we did here. So let me know what you think about how to beat the 4-4-2 and how it kind of worked out here. And if you have any more questions about how to beat other tactics, I will go ahead and try them. Do let me know in the comment section so I can see how that works out, and I can go ahead and get a video for you as well. This was a quick video, but for more videos like this, do well to hit the subscribe button so you can get notified when more Football Manager videos like this do come out. I'll see you in the next video.